Hi traders, and welcome to the Technical Analysis Market Wrap on Friday the 24th of September. So I've seen an action-packed week this week with a lot of the majors and the key indices starting to move and really rock some levels. So we'll jump straight into the charts and see if we can identify any trades for today or early into next week. So we'll start out here with the Aussie USD as we always do. You can see that the daily, the last day's action has been a big push up to the 20 moving average, and that's also a role reversal zone. So we know that that 72 or basically 73 area is where the price is at right now, and we knew that was going to be obviously a difficult place to break in the first instance. So no surprises that it's retesting it from the bottom. The 20 moving average is hovering above it now. So look, it's one of those ones where if you didn't get the initial move, you probably, you might have struggled to get into this because it didn't pull back to the 20 moving average. This is the first 20 moving average pullback. It's got a bit of work to do here to go up though for mine. I still think it's probably looking a little bit short. The definitely the pressure on the daily has been down, and I know we've had this big move up, and we've basically found ourselves underneath this role reversal zone again. But you can still see here that we didn't have any pullbacks for that entire time. Like, it basically just came down systematically over about 3 weeks. So realistically, this is the first test of the 73 from underneath in a while. You can see here that this is obviously a strong resistance zone, or it's going to be, because this was support over here, and we know it's a key number. I'm not concerned about the MACD or the stochastic in this instance, because really it's only doing what you would expect it to do. It's going in line with price. So yeah, look for a change of trend around this area. What I'm looking for is basically a 1 hour change of trend. Okay, so what we want to see here is a lower high, lower low sequence on a 1 hour chart. If we get that, I'm going to be half convinced that that 20 is going to hold. It's one of those ones where you don't want to just be jumping in, because realistically, you know that it was a pretty strong base down here, and it's at that level now where a big sell-off is going to push it down into the 71s again. So that's not going to go out without a fight. So realistically, although the 20 moving average is strong and it's at a roll reversal, you definitely want to see a change of trend. So if you don't get a change of trend on a 1 hour, so a series of lower highs and lower lows, which will see the 1 hour be back below the moving averages, then I would be convinced that it's going to go lower. You can see on the 4 hour chart, we had that bottom, basically a triple bottom here on that same level. So, if waiting for a change of trend on a 4 hour might be a little bit too long, because by the time that actually happens, it may well be back in the 71. So probably the 1 hour is your key. If you get a 1 hour change of trend, we're basically trading the reversal off that 20 moving average on the Aussie. But good trading. It was really good trading on the way down, and hopefully you're able to catch some of that. So we'll move on over to the US dollar CAD. This one was a great trade. It did its job off the 20 moving average. We were talking about this last week, where it was hovering above the 20 moving average and looking for a break up and test these levels again. It did just that. Look, if you missed the initial burst, it may have been a bit of a challenge to get into, but really you have to go back all the way to a 15-minute chart to probably appreciate this move and be able to take part of it. So even the 4 hour and the 1 hour, they were all a little bit extreme. As you can see, it really just blasted up. But what you could have done though, if you were trying to scalp it and you missed the first opportunity, is this. I'll just take it over to the move that happened. You can see that this was the sideways action that we were talking about around the 17th of September. But then when it did eventually bust through, the 15-minute chart was the one to be on, because it was the one that was giving us the pullbacks down to the 20 moving average and launching off that. So you were able to capture basically that whole move on many, many occasions on a 15-minute chart, because it basically was pulling back to the 20 moving average. And that's probably, the thing that I probably want to highlight. When you are looking for an entry point to a move that's already started, you really need to go down through the time frames to make sure you find the one that is actually playing the game. Sometimes it's going to be the 1 hour, sometimes it's going to be the 15-minute, and indeed sometimes it's going to be the 4 hour, depending on what time frame that your big move is on. But you've just got to highlight the one that is actually giving you the pullbacks and then trade off that one. So in this instance, it was the 15-minute chart. And you can see there that on the daily, it was a very big move, hit the levels that we needed it to hit. We didn't expect it to go any longer just yet. And it doesn't mean that it's completely short from here and it's going to capitulate, even though it's come back down to this level. It's just now it needs to set up for another trade. So that was the trade that we wanted out of that one, and we certainly got it. So, and I wouldn't have been looking for shorts in that area, because I think that was just a little bit too aggressive and a little bit volatile at the time. So, it's really good to take the one trade at a time approach, and that one was the move up. So now we just wait for it to consolidate, see if it can get back above the 20 moving average on the daily. If the 20 moving average and the 50 hold it up, it might take another attack up and try and get to the highs again. Failing that, it's got a long way to go for mine to go short, because it's got to make a series of lower highs and lower lows, and until it does that, I won't be shorting this one, especially on a daily. So you can see that we've still got the higher high, higher low sequence on the daily chart. And yeah, we'll just wait for that one to play the game. But for now, this is a bit of a sit and watch. Hopefully you're able to take advantage of that move. All right, we'll go to the US dollar yen. The sideways action continues on. This has just been a funny sort of trade, hasn't it? We've been talking about this for months now, and it's been in this zone. But it is finally starting to prove to be some pretty good trading opportunities inside the box. So we've got the double bottom that we highlighted. You know, we've gone to the top of the range again, which is at 110.30. Not big ranges. Like, we're not talking about big ranges, but there is about 100 pips between the high and the low. And there are some good trading opportunities in between. So yeah, the moving averages have not really changed all that much. You can see the 20 and the 50 are still crossing over, and they're basically, you know, working in a horizontal pattern at the moment, which is highly unusual for a trade like this. But look, at the same time, when we go to the 4 hour, it does highlight a little bit more how you can get into these trades. You can see that it's very, very uniform in its approach from the support and the resistance. So all you're doing is basically trading inside that range until it eventually breaks. So you want to see either a daily or at least at the very least a 4 hour break of these zones. I would be inclined to be waiting for a daily break on the above resistance or below support to actually see if this one's going to break out and start to go longer or shorter on a bigger time frame, because it's been here for so long. It's going to take a significant break, like a break of some significance now, to prove that it's actually going to start trending. Otherwise, it's probably just going to be a fake out. So really, trade what we see. It's what we always do. So until we actually get that, look for shorts off this level and look for longs off this level. We need to go to a pretty small time frame to actually get that. But again, you know, even off the bottom here, you can see if you missed the initial launch, the 15-minute tells the story. All the pullbacks to the 20 moving average were entries long onto that, and obviously the take profit is absolutely taken now because that was at the top of the range. So look for a change of trend on probably a 1 hour to start letting us know that it's going to start drifting back to the bottom again. A series of lower highs and lower lows on a 1 hour will get us in, and we'll start looking for those ranges again. But look, this has been, as much as it's been sideways, the last few week or two probably has given us some opportunities to actually get in and scalp this one. It's still an absolute scalp inside a range, and as long as you treat it as such, you're going to have a bit of fun with the US dollar yen. Pretty good trading on it, but again, now it's at that level. We've got to wait for it to change around. Or, you know, the other option, of course, is if you get a daily close above that level, then we can start looking for long opportunities outside that channel. All right, we'll go over to the dollar index now. The dollar index has been, you know, very strong again this week. You can see it did the job from the bottoms that we were talking about last week. It hit the target that we needed, which is great. You can see that it was up into the mid 93s again. It did the job on the euro, so it certainly shorted the euro for us, which is the one we're going to look at next. Look, it's still long in terms of the pattern, okay? So we've still got the higher high, higher low sequence, so there's no doubting that it's still in an upward trend. But the problems are, of course, that we've got resistance right in front of us now. So even if it did reverse from here, you know, it's going to have to take a pretty big momentum push to get past these levels. I still think there's a good chance that it can do that, but I'm probably waiting for, if it hovers around here and the 20 moving average catches up and it launches off the 20 for another attack on this level, I think it's far more likely that it will break it. And if it does that, then yeah, it's going to open itself up to the 94.5, sort of 95 area, which I think is definitely possible. So failing that, again, this has got a lot of work to do on the short side if we're going to short the this one and long the euro. So it's a bit of a wait and see on this one, unfortunately. Now, we've had the trades. Look, all the trades happened last week, so you know you should have been able to get a heap last week. Now we just have to sit and wait a little bit this week. Again, just wait for it to potentially touch the 20 moving average or start to reverse and push up again. You've got to go to a smaller time frame for that to happen, of course. A series of higher highs and higher lows on a 1 hour. Get the 1 hour closed above the 20 and the 50 moving average, and we could be good to go on the long on the dollar index. But still looking pretty strong. Don't worry about that candle too much. It hasn't done really anything. All it's done is pulled back to a level that you'd expect it. The lightning bolt is still in full effect, and as long as that holds up above the 20, that's still a reasonable level, okay? And it is a bit of a roll reversal zone here, because of this. So it's going to find support at this level, which it already has. All right, we'll move over to the Euro USD. So this was the short that we're talking about, of course, off that peak there. We've been talking about this for a little while. This is all the dollar strength over the last few weeks. You can see the shorting of the euro has happened, and it continued all of this week. So you can see that was the area. This is the week that we're talking about. This is a daily chart, so we've got 5 days worth of action. Fairly short. This is the first day that it's actually pulled up off that level of support, which is no surprise. Obviously the opposite of the dollar index. And again, this is probably one of those ones where it's going to find itself until it actually breaks out of that big zone now, like it needs to break past this level here, the 116 sort of 90 area, maybe a little bit lower, sort of 116.80 needs to be broken now for this to start really shifting forward. And of course, that's going to take a break of the dollar index above that 93.50. All very possible. It's starting to go a little bit sideways now. Look, it's got 2 touches on a support and resistance zone now. So yeah, we're almost calling this a channel. It pretty much is. And until it breaks that channel, and what I'm talking about when I say channel is this here. Okay, so we've got the confirmed 2 touches to make that a channel now. So realistically, we can trade this as a channel for now until we get a break. So because it is a big time frame, we want to see a decent break of this channel, either on the way up or on the way down. If it breaks below, that means that we've got a good move on the dollar index, which probably is going to take this down to around that sort of 115, 115.50, which is our first target for the Euro USD. And of course, a break up, which is, it's got a lot of work to do that. It's got to be basically above 119, a daily close above 119, and then we'd be looking for longs, and of course the dollar index would be absolutely tanking at that point. So we won't hold our breaths on that one. We'll certainly let that one play out. But for now, what you want to be doing is paying a lot of attention to the 20 moving average here, almost in the middle of this range. Go to the smaller time frames again. What I'll do actually, I'll highlight that zone in the middle where the 20 moving average is. It's about there. What you're going to be looking for in that instance is a sequence of higher highs and higher lows, basically to get there, which you've already got. You've got a little bit of resistance here. If this starts to weaken around this area, anywhere in this area here, if this starts to weaken and we see a lower high, lower low on a 1 hour chart, this is the target, very, very clear target of 116.90 to 117. Look, it's only scalping. This is not going to be a long-term trade until this channel gets broken. Okay, so until it either breaks above the 118 and breaks below the 116.80 on a daily chart, this is going to be basically stuck in this zone. So you've got to trade it accordingly, scalping into the 116.80 or up to the 117, basically 70 as well. It's good trading. You don't want to be ignoring it, but you've got to wait for the signs, and it's more a 15-minute and 1 hour play on this one until these zones get broken. So draw those zones up and trade inside that range on the smaller time frames until we get a significant break above it. All right, we'll go over to the ASX 200 now. So this has been one of the big interesting movers of the week. Like obviously it started last week and it really, really tanked early, and then it's had 3 days of sustained build up basically to the level of the 20 moving average and the 50 moving average again. We got the confirmed cross. There's no question about that. That's 1,400 or 1,500 points ago that a cross last. So this is significant. Look, this is the move that we were waiting for all of September, right? So it finally happened. How far this move goes now, we can't really know. We can't say that, it's going to continue lower, because really it's done exactly what we would have expected it to do. It's had that, reasonable percent pullback in September, which it always does. Whether it's going to continue now, it's going to be up to the market technicals to really pay attention to. It could easily pick up from here and continue up longer, because realistically it's already had the pullback. But in saying that, for that to happen, it has to break above these 2 moving averages and this 74 sort of 50 level. If it doesn't do that and it holds below there and starts to short off again, then it's basically either going to go sideways till the end of the year, or it's going to have another real crack at the short, which is, it's on the cards. I mean, it doesn't mean just because it's stopped here and starts to reverse, it doesn't mean that that's over. But now we have to rely on technicals to lead the way. We can't just say September is going to get it done, because September has already done its job. So now what we're going to do, we're stuck inside this range again. We've got the support and the resistance around this level here. So anywhere between 74.50 and 72 is the range that it's probably going to be stuck in. If it breaks out of that range on either side, then it provides some trading opportunities. If it breaks above the 74.50, we can start looking at the highs again. The first instance being here around that 75.50, which is about 100 points away. And then of course, if it breaks below the 7,200, the target after that's going to be 6,900, which is the next level of roll reversal. So definitely good opportunities and good trading on this one, but it's a case of waiting and seeing. With the moving averages where they are, you want to go to the smaller time frame, pay attention to the 1 hour. You see a lower high, lower low sequence. You can see we're starting to flatten out here. These are getting rounder and rounder, these tops. So and this is all but a double top really. If it comes down here, it's going to make a mini neckline on the 1 hour. If we get that break and we see a series of lower highs and lower lows, funny thing is, and this is what I love about patterns, if this does happen to provide a lower high, lower low sequence, that is actually going to confirm the double top here. and it's also going to give us the lightning bolt that we need. The prices will be underneath the moving averages again, and we've got some pretty clear targets on the daily to aim for, okay? So, and it's obviously at a very, very strong resistance point on the daily. So really important to remember that the daily is looking at trying to hold this up. The 1 hour is starting to round off, so keep an eye on the smaller time frames. And if you get that sequence of lower highs and lower lows, good trading down to the 7,200. All right, so I hope everyone's had a great week's trading. I think we've had some awesome opportunities from last week and into early this week. We've got some setups happening again, so just keep an eye out, set your alerts, and keep those small time frames up and running for the lower high, lower low, and higher high, higher low sequences to get into those mini trends inside these zones. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.